What's up everyone, Speedy here. In this 2v2 video, we're going to be doing 2 live games as well as 1 replay review, so let's get right into it. Okay, here we are in game number 1. Here, just from the positioning, grab that corner piece. That's insane how that works out as a demo form, but okay. Here, just rotate back. Even just covering front post is fine. That ends up coming across, so it's fine. Grab this boost. Get dunked here. End up losing that, that's okay. Cover for that. Just recover. Don't commit to that dash. The reason being is I'd be in a position that's pretty unfortunate. Try to shoot it back post. That way it's a little harder of a shot for them, or harder of a save for them, rather. Kind of wish teammate didn't go for that other touch there, but all good. I could have done a better job of kind of recovering. Here, they're going to want to touch it there. So here, just grab both boosts. You see, that's a high percentage play, because what you're doing is you're starving them with boost, and now they don't have a whole lot of follow-ups to work with. Nice. So there, even if you know you don't have a shot, what you can do is you can essentially try to probe pressure. And if I don't have an angle that I can confirm the shot, what you do is you go backboard, because you know the teammate's likely going to be in this position to go for that. You still want to be able to kind of cover. That's okay. That's a little scarier than it should be. Nice. Gives them a moment to get control. Their teammate should be able to collect. Here, just grab pads. Even if you've got plenty of boost, you just want to be in a position where you can cover. That's going across, so we're okay. It's a bit awkward, but still just trying to cover worst case. Here, just be careful about creeping up. You see I was creeping up there. You don't want to creep up. And that goes in. That's really shitty touch on me. Fortunately, teammate ends up giving him a nice 1v2, and I'm having to cover for a bump play immediately after. That's not intelligent rotation, but okay. It's opportunity for teammate, but he still goes because he's not thinking about positioning. Thank you for leaving that boost. And I'm just not going to follow that. I'm also just going to get scored on because I'm fucking terrible. Jesus Christ, dude. Oh my god, dude. I'm glad teammate just decided not to commit there, but he's positioning himself in a spot where he can kind of follow up on that, but he's on 0 boost with no means to actually like commit. He's wanting to turn there. That's a dangerous turn. Here, just rotate back. Again, cover the worst case scenario. Type of pressure. Grab this mid boost. Be in a position to kind of cover for potential play. Try to have, ideally in a position like this, you want to have what's called defensive layering. So there, you just wanted to have potential redundancy. See, like, okay, things are, oh, that one's not bad. Bumped him so he used time. Try to force the bump pressure. You get a bump here. We rotate back. There we go. That sucks. He ends up dunking that, which is really unfortunate, and he gets a good position afterwards. All good. Not a great game for me, honestly. I could have played a lot of these defensive positions better. Winnable. I have to go for some kind of kickoff strat. Let's go back left. See? Kickoff strat. If you're able to do kickoff strats and create an opportunity for your teammate to make a solo play, that's higher percentage than just going for the default kickoff like this. Boom, that's just the basic kickoff. And now he does get possession. Here, just got across. Has a solo play here. Opponent's going for the bump play. Like, he's getting kind of desperate for bumps, that's fine. Now that is a crazy close call. And that goes in. You see how we're down 2 goals? 15 seconds left in the game? 15 seconds left in the game, and we came back and won that. And a lot of that stems from just making plays that are not only high percentage, but also just being aware of recognizing, okay, you know, we're in a bad spot, and instead of getting desperate for goals, let's get smart for goals. Let's get smart for goals. Let's get smart for positions. You know, put yourself in positions where you can try to maximize every bit of a chance that you can get potentially a goal for yourself and also for your team. Here, just be in position to cross. Nice. Good pass from teammate. See, you want to be careful if you're a teammate going for those passes. Not necessarily something you want to be going for unless your teammate's able to have a good awareness pretty early on. Try to be in a position where I can now kind of be ready to go. Get the dunk play. This boost will spawn. I can't go there. It's too dangerous. Just trying to get bump pressure. Ideally putting myself in a better position. They're going to cut there. Nice. I have to take that boost just because the opponent's in a position where they can grab that. Unfortunately, it does 50-50 that way. It's definitely a little scarier than it should have been, but all good. They come across here, but just remember the 70-30 rule. Like, I can't commit to that. There, just rotate out. Just kind of make sure your body language tells your teammate that you're going to be leaving the play. There, I just can't commit. Rotate back. Just be in a position to cover them. Nice. And you see how, like, as second man, this is something that's really key, is do not make the mistake of over pushing a second man. You want to be close enough to be able to do exactly that, to follow up on the play that your teammate makes. Teammate kind of trolls the kickoff. Teammate's wanting to stay close. I just can't commit because he keeps putting himself in the position where he's now essentially there. But he's there when he shouldn't be. Cover for the 50-50. Being aware of the, essentially their first man going for the bump play. That's actually a really poor touch. Gives possession away. Opponent has no follow-up because I bumped their second man, so their second man can't maintain layering here. So here, watch for that. And that's going to bounce up. It's going to be a bit awkward. Teammate should be able to cover. Yeah, just make them awkward. Even if I don't get a touch there, just simply going there is a threat. And they have to respect the threat. Nice shot, dude. I love that pressure. Just putting pressure on them. That's all it's about. Going to Dunkin' Donuts. Actually, more like going to Dunkin' Double Donuts. Now that is a great title name for something. There, just cover the shot. And GG. Well played. Very, very well played second game. Okay, so here we are in the replay portion of the video. This was an instructive game, but not the best game. But definitely a game that has teachable moments. That's why I'm trying to include this one. Sometimes you get situations where, like that, this is something that's really common in probably most ranks, is pretty bad possession situations. You'll get a situation like this where team is pushing up, they're not really doing anything with it, and they're too afraid as first man to go. If you're first man, you need to learn to just be able to be both aggressive but tactical when it comes to actually pushing here. You cannot be giving all this space to somebody, and you absolutely, especially as first man, just need to go. I'm back as second man, I'm watching the play, I'm able to cover, but when you're creating essentially a 1v3, not even just a 1v2, but a 1v3, because you as a solo queue player are now having to essentially deal with a complete lack of positioning, and really just a complete lack of, like, I wouldn't even say dominance. You just need to have some confidence as first man. You need to just be putting pressure on. You need to put pressure on the play, so that way this guy can't do all the shit that he's about to be doing. Otherwise, you're forced into this awkward 1v2, essentially. And here, I'm trying to cover both the touch, and I'm also aware that this guy, because again, these guys are a team, as the colors were probably obviously telling you. So they're coordinating and going for passing plays a lot. Me, I'm having to cover that the entire game. Over and over again, I'm having to make adjustments and kind of recognize that they're going for plays together that normally I wouldn't be able to, or not that I wouldn't be able to, but I wouldn't have to go against in the solo queue situation where it's just completely solo standard. That's kind of something I wish was a thing. I wish a game mode like that, like solo standard, was a thing where it's just solo queue, there's no teams. Granted, that's just how it is. But in situations like this, I'm trying to cover both the shot and also the pass, which leads to another shot. So I'm trying to cover this. He ends up actually faking, which is annoying because it's like being faked by somebody who's just having that presence there is just frustrating. And being forced into that position because first man Chunky didn't go at all is a separate issue of its own. First man, if you're first man, you need to go there. You cannot be this passive in a situation like that. Here, try to shoot it back post just to make pressure. Here, cut across and be in a position where I can cover. You see, like, why is he going? He doesn't know when he wants to go. He cuts across here, but he instead of maintaining defensive layering, what you want to do, if you're chunky in this situation, just rotate behind me. Like, I have a clear angle of a shot, and it's really just a clear angle of a 50-50. There's no angle for him here. At best, this ball goes here. It comes across here, and it's not really very playable. At worst, he just gets dunked, and that's just in our net. Like, if I have the 50-50 here, which is why I went for it, which was high percentage for us, because again, they're creating really rough situations because they're playing as a fucking team. If you're in a situation like this as solo queue, it is your duty as a solo player to be even more aware of your positioning and even more aware of how to just be able to actually tactically take position, not just let position be taken from you every single time that happens. You need to learn how to assert yourself in a position, otherwise you will not get anywhere. So in my situation, I push this 50. But if you're chunky here, you do not want to be going here. Rotate back around, cover the worst case scenario, or just be in a position where this 50, boom. Now we can cover for this, because if you were covering like here on the ground, he could collect this 50, and look how free this is. They're both in our side of the field. We should have had a goal here if he just recognized how to be patient, like rotationally speaking. We would have had a goal here. But now he's awkward, he's trying to get himself set up, he doesn't know what to do. I'm trying to force bump plays and just try to create opportunities for us, and there's not much else I could really do at this point. You know, I've done everything I possibly can at this point, and it's just awkward, and that's kind of the nature of solo queue. Here, once again, trying to cover for a potential shot play. I didn't have to double jump here. I made myself much more awkward than I needed to. It's a situation where grabbing that boost is fine. Teammates again, too passive as first man. If he's not going to go, I'm going to go. That's the way you have to learn. If he's going to be that passive about it, you need to just be able to just know that's what you want. Here, come off ball cam. It's a really common mistake in a situation where it's awkward like this to stay in ball cam, because sometimes you'll focus too much on ball, but you're not going to focus on your positioning relative to that. So coming up ball cam here, this is something that helps me. It's come up ball cam just so I have a nice straight, mentally, like a very straight shot that makes it much easier. Just get that touch, boom, bringing that out. Teammates trying to go for some kind of crazy redirect play that's obviously not high percentage, but they're going for it because this is very common in Champ 1, Champ 2. A lot of people just go for the plays without thinking whether or not it's a good play. They just go for it because they don't think. It's one of the biggest problems in these rings, and really all rings. Is a lot of people are what I would say is thoughtless. Creates a lot of 1v2 situations. In this situation, it was kind of tricky. I could have actually honestly played this from the outside. So like here, been a little bit more to my right, and then be able to pop this like here. Unfortunately, it's kind of a forced, awkward situation where I'm now trying to just quickly make a play. I don't have time to be able to adjust myself the way I thought, or at least I don't perceive that I have a lot of time. And that's a positioning error on myself. But it's also a situation where, again, it's creating a forced 1v2. Why? Because Elmo isn't really able to kind of recognize that some of these 1v2 situations aren't good. And I'm not saying that it's his fault. But when you make certain plays as first man, the thing is you need to recognize whether or not you're putting your teammate into forced 1v2s. Because forced 1v2s, I can tell you right now, in a 2v2 game mode, where you're last man now as the one, you have to recognize how, all of us can recognize how shitty of a position that is. By the way, I could have taken a little more time with the setup here, but I just needed to go for a quick touch here. I didn't have a lot of time to like really get it set up. Plus I saw them both awkward, so I just went. It wasn't a situation where, in here, I kind of went. I thought that was my bad, essentially. I thought he was just kind of giving that as like a heads up, like, hey, I'm going to pass it. Because like here, I don't see what he was going to be able to do with this. I should have just stayed back, because I should have just played for the dunk. That's a mistake on my part. Here, very soft cheat. Unfortunately, get beat right away. Again, the benefits, these are the benefits of being in a stack. That you can just do so many things as a stack that you can't do in solo. Like here, you see I'm like mentally I'm covering for worst case scenario. Try to get the save, because once again, they're just essentially constantly fucking with us and then putting us in awkward situations. He's coming across the net as something that is very dangerous in any situation like this. It seems like it's open position, but it's just dangerous because of this potential dunk play. And if Mbeefed gets a better dunk here, it's more dangerous. That's why I'm trying to cover for that. It's just not, I don't, typically as second man, I really don't like positions here. Unfortunately, I honestly should have taken more time. I really do not like being in positions like that, where the ball's coming across our net with somebody attacking us like that, because a bad dunk just leads to a goal. And there's just nothing I could really do at that point. So, good bump from Mbeef. Here, just, again, you want to see how, like, I'm as second man maintaining layering, and I'm trying to cover. But see, he's going for the corner boost instead of coming back and potentially, like, bumping. You know, there's options here if you're chunky here. This has nothing that benefits the play, because they're both pushing up the play. They both have possession, and whether they have boost or not isn't really relevant. And the reason it's not relevant, and I'll justify this, I would say it's really not generally relevant, is because they have positioning, they have possession, and they have momentum. And he's grabbing boost in a situation where, yeah, he could have boost, but the problem is now I'm in a 1v2 where all he has to do is go for a flick. He fucks up the flick, but what if he doesn't? What if he doesn't fuck up the flick and now it's on net? Now I'm having to cover that, and that's also an awkward situation, right? So just like recognize that if you're chunky here, don't go for that boost. You grab pads, go for the bump play, try to create a higher percentage for your second man to have an easier chance and an easier opportunity to go for a potential 50-50 and not likely to be in another 1v2. See how many 1v2s I was put in defensively? That is one of the worst things you could do as first man. This guy, he needs to work on his first man plays. It's not a hard thing to do. Just simply be aware of your rotations. Go back and replay and just like legit fucking watch what you're doing. Like here, he's overextending. I go for a 50-50. I'm just trying to necessarily cover for that. I don't get the best touch. That's on me though. That's on me though. And here, it's like, okay, now as second man, kind of cover. Doesn't really get a bump, but then he shortcuts the rotation. Like, why is he shortcutting rotation here? Like, I'm able to go, just stay behind. And here, it just leads to another, like, senseless 1v1 situation. And here, it's just awkward. I'm trying to cover for it, but it's also defensively awkward because I'm in a position where now momentum immediately goes on their side. It's not a situation, again, you don't want to be in. It's a situation, rather, you just don't want to be in. That's a double negative. Here, I pop it left because I knew that the potential dunk play, I called it back right because I was like, okay, we need to get something on the board at this point. This guy's not really giving me a lot to work with. This is poor rotation. You don't want to be rotating long ways like this. This will get you scored on in a lot of situations. Don't do that. That's a big mistake here on my part. Because essentially what I'm doing is I'm overextending. I need to be kind of like this. And then I need to be not turning upfield, I need to be turning downfield. Because then I can potentially cover for this pretty easily. Because by the time the ball bounces here, I'm already able to scoop it, get control, and now be ready for a potential 50-50 with Mbeef pushing the way he is. And again, it's just more awkward defensive situations. This whole game was defense simulator because situations with teammates just not recognizing how often he was putting me into a bad spot. Like, I'm getting ready to go here, but he just stays with it. He just keeps going. You know, he keeps going, so I have to back off because it's like, it's awkward. Even if he postured for it late, he's posturing for it too late. You know, and I can't cover for that. I can't read movement like that. I can only do so much as a player. In situations like this where you have a two-man team that is literally coordinating every attack they do in every situation, it is your job to make it even higher percentage if you possibly can. At this point, the game's over. The game is over. There's nothing left to do. At that point, I played as well as I possibly could in a situation where it's just difficult. And I said, okay, you know what? It's over. And in a situation like this, normally I wouldn't resign it, but it's done. It's done. We have zero pressure. The entirety of the game has been defensive pressure. We have been nothing. We have barely had any attacks. We had literally, they had two. So look at that. They had two situations offensively or defensively where they had to cover a shot. One was my flick. And then this one earlier here was that play. That was it, right? And that was it. Because I go for that offensive pressure play. So I was the only one producing offense, essentially. And once again, in that situation, trying to deal with defensive pressure. And that's not something like here. This touch, not really great, because it just not only concedes possession, but it's just not really putting pressure in a way that actually does anything. And it just relegates possession. Trying to just take it to the corner and relegating possession is something that as first man, you really try to want to avoid because of this. And I know it sounds like I'm kind of harping on this guy. That's not the intent. The goal is to explain that if you're in a situation like this as Chunky, you need to be more aware and cognizant of how to improve your first man offense. Because if you really want to be above this rank, you need to improve that. Otherwise, you're gonna get yourself essentially stuck here because you're not improving and you're not making the right adjustments in order to actually get better as a player. Especially with this glaring of a weakness, you have to start improving this. For me, my big weakness is forced 1v1s and 1v2 defensive situations. That's one, like, it feels like a weakness for me. I'm overall pretty decent at it, but it's not a situation that I feel like I should be having to train. But this is essentially what's happening is in a game like this, is I'm basically the whole game trying to play second man defense. And it's annoying. That is very annoying, as essentially being forced as a defensive second man in situations like this. It's awkward. It's difficult. It's also incredibly low percentage because I'm consistently being put into a defensive position, and that is not a good thing. You do not want to have to be over and over and over again having to defend positions over and over again without a high percentage, without an out. That is not a good position for you as a team, and it is not a very winning position as a team. That being said, though, if you found these games to be instructive and would like me to replay review your games, let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and if you enjoyed watching this video, make sure you hit that like button, comment, and subscribe. Speedy Man out.